So, welcome back to the 2x e-commerce podcast. In our last episode, we covered the big picture of scaling e-commerce brands in 2024 and 2025, focusing on three key pillars that drive growth: product innovation, marketing efficiency, and operational excellence. Today, we're kicking off the first of a series of deep dives into those pillars, starting with product innovation. This episode will help you zero in on how to develop and refine a best-selling SKU. So whether you're an established operator or just starting out, in the next few episodes, we'll also dig into marketing efficiency and operations. So stay tuned for those. As I mentioned in the last episode, product innovation is crucial to your growth, but it doesn't happen by accident. It's not just about coming up with a good idea. It's about understanding what the market wants, iterating on your offering, and then building a product that solves real problems. For those of you who've been operating for a while, take a moment to scan through your top selling SKUs, check out what's performing best. And today, we'll talk about how to take those strong performers and evolve them into true hero products. If you're just starting out, I've also got you covered. We'll walk through how to start Scrappy, gather the right data, and then develop a product that the market actually demands, not one that you hope will succeed. Remember, the key is that you don't decide what your hero product is, the market actually decides. So let's jump in and explore the process of developing and refining a best-selling SKU.
It's the 2X e-commerce podcast, hosted by Kunle Campbell.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the 2X e-commerce podcast. It's great to have you here again as we dive deeper into what it really takes to scale an e-commerce brand in 2024. In our last episode, we talked about the big picture of growth. We broke it down into three pillars: product innovation, market efficiency, and operational excellence. These are the core areas that will drive your business forward. And today, we're going to start a series of deep dives into each one of them. Now, if you're tuning in for the first time, don't worry, you can still follow along. Today's episode is all about product innovation, and whether you've been running your business for years or you're just getting started, this one is the most important thing you can focus on if you want to scale. For those of you who are existing operators, I want you to start by thinking about products you already have. Go through your current lineup, maybe even open up your sales dashboard right now and look at your top performing SKUs. Which ones consistently outperform the others? Which products do your customers love the most? This will be your starting point. You might already have a hero product sitting right there, but maybe you haven't doubled down on it yet. Or maybe there's room for improvement. Maybe it's upgrading the packaging, tweaking the formula, or improving the user experience. Remember this: you don't decide your hero product, it's a market that does. The data will tell you which products resonate with your customers, and it's your job to refine and scale those products. And if you're just starting out, the approach is a bit different. You're in a data gathering phase. So your first goal isn't to build the perfect product out of the gate. It's to launch Scrappy. That means getting a minimum viable product, or an MVP, into the hands of your customers as soon as possible, and then learning from their feedback. You want to listen carefully to what your customers are saying. What do they love? What needs improvement? Your first version doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to solve a real problem. And as you gather data, you'll get closer and closer to what your best selling SKU will be. Like I said earlier, the market decides. It's your job to listen to the market and then adjust. Even big brands didn't start with perfect products. They started small, gathering feedback, and then evolved. So today, we're going to break down the exact steps you need to follow to develop and refine a product that can become your bestseller, whether you're refining a product that's already in your catalog or starting out with an MVP. The key is to let the market guide your decision. Let's dive into the process, starting with how you can launch Scrappy and then gather data to make smarter decisions. So stay tuned. All right, let's get into the first step in developing a best-selling SKU, starting Scrappy and gathering data. The most important thing to understand here is that you don't need to start with a fully polished product. In fact, starting Scrappy is often the best way to learn and quickly minimize risk and find out what really resonates with your customers. For those of you who already have products in the market, here's what you need to do. Look at your top selling SKUs and identify the one that shows the most potential. It could be a product that's already performing well, but hasn't quite reached its full potential. Think about what you can improve. Is it the design, the functionality? Maybe it's the branding or packaging that needs a refresh. The goal here is to iterate on something that's already showing signs of success. Take what's working and then make it better. And remember, your customers are your best source of data. Dive into the reviews, survey your customers, and dig into what they're saying. What are their common themes? Are they raving about a certain feature in the product, or are they frustrated by something you can easily fix? For example, Gymshark, which was talked about earlier, started Scrappy. They were sewing their own gym clothes by hand and selling them at expos. They didn't have a full product lineup to start with. They launched a few items, gathered feedback from customers at events and online, and then refined their designs based on what their community wanted. That's how they figured out what products resonated, and eventually they scaled up. And for those of you who are just starting out, the approach is similar, but you're at a different stage. You might not even have a product yet, or you're still in the process of launching your minimum viable product or MVP. Now, the goal for your MVP isn't to have that perfect product from day one. The idea is to get a basic version of your product out into the world as quickly as possible and let customers tell you what's working and what's not. For example, when HiSmile first launched their teeth whitening kit, it was a simple, scrappy version of what they have today. They didn't invest a ton of money upfront. They launched quickly, used social media and influencers to gather initial interest, and then listen to what their customers were saying. They noticed that people loved the concept but had issues with certain features like the formula and the applicator. So they took that feedback and improved the product over time, turning it into a highly successful product you see today. So if you're just starting out, don't overcomplicate things. Focus on solving a specific problem with your MVP, putting it out there, gather feedback, let your customers guide the next version, right? Now, how do you gather the data you need to make improvements, whether you're an established operator or just starting out? Here are a few methods. Method one, customer reviews. Dive deep into your reviews. What are customers praising? What are they complaining about? This is direct feedback that can give you insights into how to improve your product. Number two, surveys and polls. Send out surveys to your email list or run quick polls on social media. Ask questions like, what's one thing you would improve about this product? What do you love most about it? A/B split test also. If you already have some traction, A/B split test can be a game changer. Test different versions of your product packaging or even marketing copy to see what resonates the most. Now, the fourth tip I have is direct customer conversation. Sometimes the best insights come from you talking directly to your customers. Reach out to frequent buyers or people who leave reviews and ask for more detailed feedback. You'll be surprised at how much you can learn from a 5-minute conversation. The more data you gather, the better decisions you can make when refining your product. Remember, you don't need to get it perfect on the first try. The goal is to get your product in front of customers and then learn from their feedback. Whether you're refining an existing product or launching an MVP, your customers will tell you what's working and what isn't. Next, we're going to talk about how to refine and test your core offering once you've gathered that initial data. So stay with me. Remember our chat in May earlier this year, episode 33 to be specific, with Sam Piliero about scaling from $1 million to $10 million with Google Ads? We touched on something crucial: trust signals in your Google search results. Let's dig a little deeper. You've seen those stars next to some websites on Google, right? Those are seller ratings and they're game changers for e-commerce. Let me explain. These aggregated ratings come from your customers' reviews about their shopping experience on your website. They can seriously boost your visibility and credibility with potential first-time customers on Google's search results. Research carried out by reviews.io found that seller ratings can increase click-through rates on Google Ads by up to 17%. That's a lot of extra traffic, but it doesn't stop there. There are also product reviews that show up on Google Shopping search results, which are equally powerful. Unlike seller ratings, these reviews focus specifically on individual products, and they can bump up conversions by as much as 26% while improving click-through rates by 5%. Higher click-through rates mean lower ads, which is pretty impressive, right? Now, you might be wondering, how do I get these reviews working for me on Google? That's where reviews.io comes in. They've automated the whole process for e-commerce operators like you, from collecting reviews to displaying them where they matter most on Google. Reviews.io doesn't just do text reviews either. They're big on video reviews, which are fantastic for creating engaging user-generated content. This stuff is gold for boosting trust and conversions in your Google results. Want to take your Google presence to the next level? Right now, you can get 10% off your first year with reviews.io. Just reach out to the team via chat or email and mention 2x eCommerce. The offer is for new customers only. Terms and conditions apply. It could be just a thing to supercharge your e-commerce store and dominate Google search results. All right, now that you've refined and tested your core offering, the next step is all about streamlining your product line. This step is crucial for both operators and those just starting out because, as we know, most SKUs or SKUs don't always mean more sales. In fact, too many products dilute your brand and create operational inefficiencies. This is the part where you really focus in on products that have the greatest potential to drive growth. For those of you who are existing operators, this is where you start to trim the fat. By now, you should have a clear picture of which products are consistently performing well and which ones aren't pulling their weight. I want you to take a hard look at your product catalog. Are there SKUs that take up resources, whether it's inventory space, marketing spend, or product cost, but aren't contributing much to your bottom line? These products can drag down your business if you're not careful. The key here is to streamline and focus on your top sellers, the ones that your customers already love and that are successfully refined. A perfect example of this approach is Gymshark again. They started out with a range of products, but as they grew, they learned that certain items like their signature leggings had a much stronger appeal than others. Instead of continuously expanding their product line, they went deeper into what worked. They refined and marketed their top performers and let go of underperforming products, which allowed them to scale efficiently. For operators, it's not about how many products you have on offer. It's about how well those products resonate with your audience and how efficiently you can deliver them. And for those of you who are just starting out, it can be tempting to launch with a wide range of products, thinking that more options will appeal to more customers. Believe you, I've been there. But the reality is focusing on one great product, one product that you've iterated on and refined will get you much further than spreading yourself thin across multiple SKUs. Let's take HiSmile as an example again. When they first launched, they didn't release a whole range of oral care products. They started with one teeth whitening kit, built that product based on customer feedback, and put all their focus into making it the best it could be. They didn't expand their product line until they had a solid foundation with their hero product. So if you're just starting out, my advice is to stay focused, hone in on one product, refine it, and let the market guide you to whether it's the time to expand or not. By focusing on just one product, you also make it easier to manage operations, marketing, and inventory. Now, whether you're an existing operator or just starting out, streamlining your product line comes down to a few key steps. Number one, identify underperforming SKUs. Use your sales data and customer feedback to identify the products that aren't performing well. Look at metrics like sales velocity, profit margins, and customer reviews. If a product isn't pulling its weight, consider whether it's worth keeping. Number two, focus on your top sellers. Once you've identified your best performers, focus your resources there. This could mean increasing your marketing spend for those products, refining their features even further, and then improving customer experience around them. Number three, cut unnecessary products. Don't be afraid to eliminate products that don't serve your business. This will reduce operational complexity, free up resources, and allow you to invest more in your top performing products. Number four, keep an eye on market trends. As you streamline, stay informed about market trends and emerging customer needs. Sometimes a product might need to be retired, not because it's underperforming, but because it's no longer aligned with your market or with the market's direction. Another example is athletic greens. Instead of launching multiple products at once, they focused heavily on just one product, their greens powder. It wasn't until they perfected that product and built a strong, loyal customer base that they considered expanding their product line. By streamlining their offering, they were able to become the go to brand in their niche and scaled efficiently. Streamlining doesn't mean simplifying to the point of stagnation. It means focusing on what works and then making sure you're keeping your resources behind the product that drive growth. So next up, we'll be talking about how to create a strong, unique selling proposition for your refined product. The USP is what will set your product apart from the competition, and it's key to turning it into the best seller. So stay tuned. So now that you've streamlined your product offering and are focusing on your top performers, the next step is to develop a clear, unique selling proposition or USP. Your USP is what sets your product apart from competitors and tells customers exactly why they should buy from you. A strong USP is critical to turning a great product into a bestseller. It defines your product's unique value, whether it's a feature, a benefit, or even a philosophy. Your USP helps you cut through the noise in the market and makes it easy for customers to understand why they need your product. For those who are existing operators, chances are you already have an idea or some idea of what your USP might be. But the question is it clear enough? Is it really standing out in the market? Take a look at your competition and ask yourself, what's the one thing my product does better than anyone else? Maybe it's the quality of your materials, or maybe it's the way you've perfected the customer experience, or the effectiveness of your product. You need to communicate that clearly in your message, your branding, and your marketing. Let's take a look at AG1 or Athletic Greens, for example. The USP has always been clear. a complete daily greens powder that simplifies your nutrition in just one serving. That's their hook. They're not competing on taste, price, or variety. They're laser focused on delivering one simple, effective, all in one health product. They communicate that in everything they do. And for those of you who are just starting out, your USP might still be evolving, but it's essential to start thinking about what will make your product unique from day one. You just don't have to invent the wheel. Sometimes your USP can be as simple as offering a better experience, a cleaner design, or a more affordable price point. Let's go back to HiSmile. When they launched, their USP was very clear from the start: a peroxide free teeth whitening solution that's painless and easy to use at home. That's what made them different from every other teeth whitening brand at the time. Even as they refined their product, they stayed true to their core USP. So if you're just starting out, ask yourself, what's the one thing that sets my product apart from competition? Once you identify it, build your entire messaging around that USP. Now, here's a quick framework for creating a compelling USP. First, identify your customer's main pain point. What problem does your product solve for your customer? This is where you need to start. The clearer you are on the problem, the easier it is to create a USP that speaks directly to it. Number two, find what makes your product different. What's unique about your product? It could be the way it's made, the experience it provides, the results it delivers, or the value it stands for. Number three, focus on the benefits. Your USP should focus on the core benefits of the customer, not just the features. For example, AG1 or Athletic Greens doesn't just sell green powder, they sell the benefits of simplified nutrition. Number four, keep it simple and clear. Don't overcomplicate your USP. It could be short, memorable, and easy to understand. A good USP can be communicated in a sentence or two. Remember, your USP isn't just a marketing tool, it's what makes your product stand out and resonate with your audience. It's strong and it can be the difference between a good product and a bestseller. Now that you've got your product refined, streamlined, and backed by a strong USP, it's time to set up a feedback loop so that you can keep improving and scaling over time. So let's dive into that in the next segment. So, the final step in developing a best selling SKU is creating a feedback loop that ensures continuous improvement. Even after you've launched or refined your product, the work doesn't stop. The market is always changing. Customers need to evolve and new competition enters the scene. That's why it's so important to have a system in place to consistently gather feedback and use it to make ongoing improvements. The feedback loop is what will keep your products relevant and successful over time. For existing operators, for those who already have customers interacting with your products, which means you're sitting on a goldmine of feedback, whether it's through product reviews, customer surveys, social media, or even direct customer service interactions, you should gather and start analyzing data constantly. What's your customers saying about your product? What features do they love? Where do they think you can improve? These insights are invaluable, and the key is to use that feedback to constantly tweak and refine your offering. For example, Dr. Squash didn't stop improving their bar soap once it became a hit. They kept listening to their customers, refining their product, and even introducing variations based on customer demand. The ongoing feedback loop is what helped them maintain growth and customer loyalty. For those starting out, setting up a feedback loop early is crucial, really critical. Your first product version is never the final version, and the only way to get better is by learning from your customers. You can use methods like post purchase surveys, email follow ups, and even social media polls to get that feedback. When HiSmile launched their teeth whitening kit, they actively sought for customer feedback on everything from the formula to the packaging. They didn't wait for the perfect product. They refined it, based on what their customers told them. And that's why they were able to improve and scale so quickly. So whether you're at the beginning or you're an already established brand, the most important thing is that you're always listening to your customers and using that feedback to guide the next steps. Here's a simple process to creating an effective feedback loop. First, gather feedback across multiple channels. Use every touch point to collect feedback. I'm talking about reviews, surveys, customer service interactions, social media, every customer touch point. The more channels you can pull data from, the better. Second, analyze the data. Look for patterns in the feedback. Multiple customers mentioning the same issue. Is there a feature they keep asking for? This will help you prioritize which areas to improve. Number three, implement changes. Once you've identified the areas of improvement, start implementing those changes, whether it's tweaking the product, improving the packaging, or enhancing the user experience. Act on the feedback you receive. Number four, communicate improvements to customers. When you make changes based on feedback, let your customers know. This shows them you're listening and valuing their input. It also increases their loyalty because they feel invested in your product's evolution. So there you have it, a complete process for developing the best selling SKU, from starting Scrappy and gathering data to refining your product, streamlining your offerings, and building a strong USP and setting up a feedback loop. These steps will help you create a product that truly resonates with your audience and stands the test of time. So, whether you're an established operator or starting out, the key is to always be learning from customers and letting the market guide your decisions. So, thank you for tuning in. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out with your questions or share any product development stories. Next time, we'll dive deeper into marketing efficiency and how to get the most out of every marketing dollar or pound and build a scalable strategy for 2024 and beyond. You don't want to miss that episode, so stay tuned.